Right now, somewhere in your pocket or on your desk, a small rectangle of glass is waiting. You haven't touched it in 11 minutes. That feels like a long time. Your hand is already moving toward it. You don't decide to check your phone. Something older than decision making does it for you. The real answer is far stranger than addiction or bad habits. To understand what's happening in your hand right now, you have to go back. Not to the invention of the smartphone, not even to the invention of writing. You have to go back nearly 2 million years to a small, exposed, upright creature scanning a horizon for two things at once: food and danger. That creature is you. Or rather, the ancestor whose nervous system you inherited without a single upgrade. Here's the strange part. Your brain was never built for certainty. It was built for possibility. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran a series of experiments on pigeons that would end up explaining your phone habit almost a century before phones existed. Skinner gave pigeons a lever. Sometimes pressing it produced food. Sometimes it didn't. The pattern was random. What Skinner discovered was counterintuitive. Pigeons rewarded every single time eventually got bored and stopped pressing. But pigeons rewarded unpredictably, they pressed the lever obsessively, compulsively, far more than the well-fed birds ever did. Uncertainty, it turns out, is more powerful than reward. Your ancestors lived inside that same uncertainty every day. When they checked a berry bush, sometimes it was full, sometimes it was empty. When they scanned the tree line, sometimes there was a predator, sometimes there was nothing. Their brains couldn't afford to stop checking. The cost of missing a threat or missing a meal was death. So evolution built you a mind that treats maybe as more urgent than yes or no. Now think about your phone. Every time you unlock it, you don't know what's there. Maybe a message, maybe nothing, maybe a notification that matters, maybe an empty screen. You are, without knowing it, pressing Skinner's lever. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying dopamine, the brain chemical everyone blames for cravings. What Sapolsky found flips the popular story. Dopamine doesn't spike when you get the reward. It spikes in anticipation of the reward, and it spikes hardest when the reward is uncertain. The chemical rush isn't the message arriving, it's the half second before you look. That means the most powerful moment in your entire relationship with your phone isn't reading the text, it's the reaching. Why does this matter so much for something as small as checking a screen? Because your ancestors weren't just watching for predators and food, they were watching each other. For early humans, survival wasn't just physical, it was social. Being cast out of the group meant losing protection, food sharing, and mates. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has spent his career arguing that human language itself evolved not to describe hunting or tools, but to gossip, to track who was trustworthy, who broke an alliance, who might be a threat inside the group, not outside it. Your ancestors needed constant, low-level social surveillance to survive. Who is angry with whom? Who is quietly becoming a rival? Who might exclude you next? Sound familiar? Every notification badge is a tiny descendant of that same ancient question. Has my status in the group changed while I wasn't looking? A red circle with a number on it isn't just an alert. To the oldest parts of your brain, it reads like a rustle in the grass. Here's the twist almost nobody expects. This system was never designed to process thousands of maybe signals a day. It was designed for a world where uncertainty arrived slowly, a handful of times, spread across an entire lifetime of foraging and social contact. Your nervous system has no evolved off switch for constant, engineered unpredictability, because constant, engineered unpredictability never existed before. You are running 2 million-year-old survival software on hardware it was never stress-tested for. And the people who built the apps in your pocket know this. Variable reward schedules, infinite scroll, red notification dots. These aren't neutral design choices. They are almost exactly Skinner's lever, rebuilt in glass and silicon, refined by engineers who studied the same uncertainty principle your ancestors lived inside without ever naming it. So when you feel that tug to check your phone for the 40th time today, you are not weak. You are not broken. You are a hunter-gatherer standing in a room built specifically to imitate a savanna made of endless maybes. What can you actually do with that knowledge? Understanding the mechanism doesn't erase it, but it does something almost as useful. It changes what the pull means. That itch isn't a character flaw. It's a 40,000 generation old vigilance reflex, mismatched to its environment. Once you can name it, you can start to notice the half second before you reach, the exact moment Sapolsky's dopamine spike is happening, before any reward has even arrived. Some people turn off notification badges entirely, removing the numbered uncertainty and replacing it with a flat, predictable interface. Some people set specific check-in times, feeding the ancient vigilance system on a schedule instead of letting it fire constantly. Neither approach fights your biology. Both simply stop feeding it the exact unpredictability it evolved to chase. Because that's the real discovery here. You were never fighting a lack of willpower. You were fighting a perfectly functioning, extremely old survival system, operating exactly as designed, in an environment it was never designed for. Right now, somewhere in your pocket or on your desk, a small rectangle of glass is still waiting. But maybe now, when your hand starts to move toward it, you'll recognize the ancient hunter behind the gesture. Not checking for a message, but scanning, the way your ancestors always did, for the one thing your brain has never stopped looking for, a sign that something in your world has changed.